Alright, it's Scar's draft time once more. The set is winding down, but I thought I'd try and get a few more in before I try and sell my ill-gotten gains for some packs while they're still semi-valuable. Active Aggression will probably be the pick here. It's colorless. It's a good way to get a 2-for-1, and it's a lot better than most of what's here. Let's see what lifestyle I just try. So we got a Wrath here. Um, hmm. I have no idea how good this card is. It's a 6 mana Wrath. That seems like a long way to go. To a long time to wait to destroy other creatures. I mean, to get good value out of it, you don't want to play many creatures, but you'll probably take a lot of damage in between. Um, and the aggression is colorless. Keeps us colorless. It's a 2-for-1. It can be used offensively or defensively. And I think it's a little too late in the set to start experimenting, so I'll just take the card that I know is good and see what happens. What happens is we get a second pick Pith Driller. I don't think I'll take it over Impaler Shrike, especially since, this can put a 1/1 counter on this. And I like Remember the Fallen, but not as much as a utility creature that keeps us colorless, with a relevant ability and a decent body. And nothing here. Yeah, the only things I'm passing up are these two. Everything else is pretty boring, but I'm happy to take a Pith Driller second and see what comes our way with pick 3. Ooh, some interesting stuff here. Shrine of Burning Rage, Volt Charge, Suture Priest. I think I like the Volt Charge a bit better just because it's not completely dead late as this is. Not to mention the fact that they can see this coming and kind of play around it. If you cast it early, it can get big, but you have to, you have to leave 3 mana open to really get the most use out of it. And if you don't, and they manage to get rid of it, then you're kind of in trouble. I think Volt Charge is slightly better. It just does what it does. You don't have to wait. Surprise factor. And you don't have to worry about drawing it late. Anything else here? Suture Priest is interesting. Soul Eater and such. But I like good removal. As should all of you. Interesting stuff here. Legionnaire, Thopter, Tanadon. That's about it. Maybe the Mine. But I'd rather take again, kind of like the Shrine. This loses some of the surprise factor. You can, it's cheap enough to just keep it in your hand and play, but the artifact creature restriction is a little bit of an annoyance, and I like the Legionnaire a lot. He's just an efficient creature, colorless, yada yada yada. Same stuff as all the other Phyrexian mana stuff I've taken before. So I'll stop hemming and hawing and just pick the darn thing. Interesting. Okay, this is going to be our first somewhat difficult choice. Norn's Annex. Plans I control unless he plays white or Phyrexian for each of those creatures. I have no idea if this card is any good. Which, considering how late in the game we are with the set, I would hopefully know by now. Everything I've read and seen and such tells me that's not very good. Other choices are Guess Verdict or the Tanadon or the Talisman, I suppose. I mean, we've got a lot of Phyrexian mana, so perhaps the Talisman is the okay pick. We've got a lot of high stuff, and I don't think the Tanadon is that great. Guess Verdict might be a little tricky, so I'll take the Talisman. Get some life back. Ramp is always fun. I think Suture Priest might be the pick here. Again, help us gain some life from all the Phyrexian stuff and slowly ping them away. Parasitic Implant. There's a lot of sacrifice effects or just ways to get around Parasitic Implant before it goes off. The ability to get a 2-for-1 is okay, but if they don't find a way to deal with the priest, he just slowly chips away at their life. And many times, by the time they realize how much damage he's done, it'll be, he'll have lost 6 life, he'll have gained 4, some abstract numbers in that area. So I think the priest is good and definitely worth taking that late in the game. Well, Whip Flare might not be bad, although I don't know how many artifact creatures are going to pick up later. And if they don't, and if they're running an artifact deck, it won't be any good. So I think this is too unreliable to be great. The Soul Eater is fun. You can make him unblockable to sneak in those last few points of damage. Let's do a cost sort. How are we doing? A little on the high end right now. I don't think I want a Viren yet, and I think we can get those later. So I'll just take a guy I can make unblockable should the mood strike me. Late Necropouncer is fun. +3/+1 haste for 2 mana. Yeah, he's worth taking over Hulk, I think. And everything else is mediocre at best, so I'll take a Necropouncer. What else? Oh, Wellspring might be fun if we want to splash black for something or blue for the Soul Eater. We're not Infect, so I don't need the Menial. If I already had a Wellspring, I might take the Core. Return target. Equipment? Might be okay. But expensive equipment plus expensive survivors might not be great. I'll take the Wellspring. Just makes us a little more consistent. And if we get something that can sacrifice it, even better. Taking the, blank, blank, blank. So I'll take the Viren over the Hulk. 1 more power, and it doesn't die to artifact removal. Probably going to hate a Throat Seeker here. Yeah. Although regenerating Nim is kind of a pain in the butt, but I think Throat Seeker is just a little bit more powerful. This may come in handy if you want to punch in those last few points of damage. Excuse me. And removal is removal, and it looks like red is a good color to be in, and a blank. Which probably could have passed, but yeah, whatever. Just to, suggest that green is open and we are not drafting it. Although, that card's really terrible and doesn't send a signal no matter when you pass it. Alright, not looking bad. Black Sun Zenith is always nice. And no great red targets. We're kind of white, although there's nothing great in white here either. Go for the Throat's a bit easier to splash, but I don't think we're solidly enough in white. This I'll count as a black card, so as much, wow, what am I trying to say here? We're not completely white. Yeah, we have 1 white card that if we really wanted to, we can splash. This is kind of black, so that pulls me in that direction, and Zenith is just really good as a sweeper. Works, with a Necropouncer, attach it to a guy, swing in, yada yada. And we're not passing up anything that great. Yeah, go for the Throat's alright, but I like Zenith. Next we have... Well, if we had stuck with white, I'd take the Sky Hunter, but as it is, Rager's also a good card advantage and such. And we kind of want to lean towards black for this. I think it's good enough, and I'm okay giving up the Suture Priest. And the double white in the Sky Hunter's cost is a little tough to swing unless you're definitely white. Nothing else here is that great. Crush is decent sideboard. I'll be okay if we pick up a Wellspring or a Golem late. But Rager is more than fine in our deck. In any deck, come to think of it. Sure. 3rd pick, Mortar Pod. Copper Carap, we're probably not playing the Suture Priest, so we don't really need a Carapace. Well, I guess Legionnaire is a 2-drop, but we're not Infect, which is where it really shines. And Mortar Pod will come in handy to ping their guys and push through those last few points of damage. Kind of wish I had those survivors, but not a big deal. And nothing else here is great. Draw Sweeper might be fun but we can get those a bit later. And mortar pod is just awesome. Nested Ghoul is also awesome. So is Blight Widow, but we're definitely black. I don't think he's worth... I don't know. Corruptor and Blight Widow is kind of a signal. But I'm not worried about getting rid of their stuff. Or them getting rid of our artifacts. You know, we don't have that many right now. And I like the Ghoul. Yeah, he's annoying if he gets arrested, but so is everything else. Yeah, we're not aggressive enough for the sledge, I don't think, so we'll get Ghoulie. I may take a Rotwolf just for the heck of it. Let's see, what else? I don't think we want the Ringleader. Wellspring is alright, but we don't have any good ways to sacrifice it. And the one Infect Drafter that's out there, we don't want him to have this if we can at all help it. And he may be worth splashing, to be completely honest with you. Probably not, but, you know, he's just a solid way. You know, 2/2 Infect is never awful and a very relevant ability. This pick comes down to... I'm not going to splash for any of these. They're not great. Comes down to, I think, the Courier or the Golem. I think we want the bigger body with the Golem just because of the Zenith. I'd like a little more removal to make that plan happen. But, you know, we can probably get these later. Double red's a little tough to swing. And I like Golem as, you know, a big finisher after we cast our Zenith and to, you know, equip it with Necropouncer and get in there. Well, Nathosaur works with all the Wellsprings we passed up. But that's okay because I like Mearsire. Good way to hold the ground early while we get to our bigger stuff. And also, you know, decent combo with the Zenith. And just an all-around good guy. And nothing here we're going to take. Doesn't look like green's open. I mean, contested Warzone? Maybe. It's worth a few ticks. But not very good in limited. Never really found a home in standard, so probably not worth that much. And Koth's Courier, you know, Hexplate Golem, we took over it, but there's no Golem here. So, you know, holds ground okay, and if the other guy's playing Force, we can sneak in unimpeded. We're no longer playing white. This is good to get rid of their equipment if they have any. We're not going to play anything else. So, sideboard card, yes, but a good one. Unlike any of these, not worried about a Turn the Tide. Quilled Slagworm. I think Quilled Slagworm is a bigger pain than the Vassal. We don't have a lot of 1/1 guys. Guys with 1 toughness. Yeah, I'll hate the Slagworm. Come on. Here, I think I'm going to take the Flenzermite, actually, for the lifelink ability and a way to shrink their guys in the early game. Maybe we won't play it, but I think we'll play it more than we'll play Caustic Hound. Bunch of junk. Don't want them to counter our late game spells. And the exact same pack. We got a couple of equipment. We'll take the drone. And Banishment Decree. So white's now coming late. We didn't see anything great in white. So I think abandoning it was the right call. Especially for this. But who knows? Contagion Clasp. Unfortunately, we can't take advantage of the rains. And nothing else here is very good. Fume Spitter's okay. And Mirror Smith's alright. Rains, of course. But I like the Clasp. So we'll take it. Get rid of their small guys and let our big guys get in. We do need to be on the lookout for stuff that can remove their big threats. Corruption and Clasp should be fun. Speaking of ways that can remove their mid-range threats, it'll take some work, several turns and help from the Clasp and putting counters back on it. But it's an excellent card in any deck, but especially one playing black, and it's shiny, which always helps. Sentinel or Mirror? We do want to ramp. And we don't, this works best in a deck, blue deck with a lot of counter magic, instant speed tricks, like the Spire Drake, which we are not. We're kind of saving mana for active aggression, but I'd rather play active aggression than the Sentinel. And we do want to ramp this up, and we have a few double black things. So an on-color mirror seems delightful for us. Another Trigon. I don't know if I want to, especially with a Grasp of Darkness in the pack. It's just a lot of mana investment. This is temporary, but it does the same thing quicker and bigger, and in a more tricky manner. And I'd rather have, diversity, spread my removal across different things, keep my opponent on his or her toes. Be nice if the replica comes back. Maybe the Bleak Coven, but I don't. We have a few artifacts, so maybe that'll sneak in there. But the Grasp of Darkness is certainly the pick here. And I think the Scudder is the pick here. The life gain is kind of a pain, but we have our, Talisman, our Suture Priest, if we want it, which we may. We've got, this kind of wants us to play white, and we've got a Wellspring, so maybe we'll sneak some white in there. But none of this is very good. 3/3 for 3, minor drawback, but we should be able to gain the life back fairly quickly. Like with this card. Just kidding. I think Replica is the pick. We already have Necropouncer giving things haste. I'd rather have a creature. We're kind of light on the creature front. I guess we have, 13, and I guess 14, although I don't think you can consider Mortarpod a creature. Would have been nice if we had some Morbid Plunders to combo with that guy, but can't always get what you want. Yep, nothing else really worth considering. Maybe the Deus, but with as few creatures as we have, I don't think it's worth what it would do for us. Yeah, a bunch of blanks and Rebirth with Wellspring or Mirror. I don't think it's worth it. It doesn't do anything late, and if we don't use it with one of these two cards, it doesn't do all that much for us. We're not that aggressive to take advantage of it. Spellbomb, if we want to target creature, okay. So it's not target creature is unblockable, but target creature can't block. We can cycle it late, get in our last few points of damage if we have to. So maybe it won't make the sideboard, or maybe we'll make the main deck, but we shall see. Nothing in our colors. Excuse me. Yeah, for splashing white, we might throw the Replica in there. Possibly the worst of the replicas, but his ability isn't completely irrelevant, even if I did kind of misplay with it last time, I think. But we're not going to play anything else. And get that artifact count up if one of our Bleak Coven vampires comes back. Which it did not. Faravor if we want to do shenanigans with the Wellspring, which probably will not happen, but you never know. Golem, because he's a dude in our colors, and none of those other cards were. Silkar Warden. Believe it or not, the Silca is kind of a pain. We don't have any real way to deal with flyers. And we have, we have ways to block the Warden. I'm not terribly worried about it. And there's a Bleak Coven. That's kind of awesome. Boy, it's going to be tough to figure out. I hate the other one. Figure out what is going to make our main decks. We have a lot of good stuff. And we even tabled the Vigil for the Lost. Lucky us. Alright, so like the look of this. Got some good stuff to put in here. I think we can make a decent deck. Let's see. Alright. You. Maybe. You. Trying to do that neat thing LSV does, but having lack of success with it. Oh well. I'll just stick to my tried and true. Lighter on the red than I thought. Maybe red will be our splash. Or maybe both will be our splash. Forgot the nested goal. Can't do that. Let's do a cost sort. Ooh, this is kind of an ugly curve. I think I do want the talisman in here then, considering all the 5 drops we have. Alright, so we only have one really main color. I mean, we're only main decking one red spell. And that being the case, I think I do want the priest in there. Do want the legionnaire in there. Do want the replica in there. Training drone. What do we have for equipment? Pouncer and the mortipod. Not that great. A little low on the creature front. Let's see. Well, that's a creature. Kind of a oh, wrong one. Alright, so we have 2 or 3 more cards. How are we doing on artifacts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Do we want to put the vampires in there? Loses 4, gain 4. Let's actually, well, this is technically a 4-drop, so we'll put that there. We'll count this as a 4-drop, I guess. So it's not as bad as it looks. So our cards under consideration are the Golem, the Spell Bomb, Flenzermite. That's definitely a sideboard card. Don't think the Soul Eater. We got a lot of good stuff late. That the Flenzermite I don't think is going to make the cut. With all the, we've got removal for the early game. I think I just want some creatures. Probably going to be the vampires and the golem, which gives us, let's do color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 artifacts. Yeah, I think that's good enough to run the vampires. It's interesting. Heavy black with a light splash for both white and red. Is anything else in here worth considering? Don't think the spell bomb. We have enough removal to get rid of their late game stuff. We don't need anything too cute like that. Maybe it'll make it in if I want another artifact or what have you for the vampires. Alright. Yep, this is going to be what we're going to go with. Let's see. I have no idea what to do for the land here, to be honest. Let's separate out. Let's see. It's sort of red, sort of red, sort of white. So we're going to go slightly heavier on the red. Anything else I'm missing? No. I guess, do I want to take the Golem out for the Spell Bomb? Or the Flintermite? I don't think so. With our equipment, I think he's good enough to make it in. Okay, so what am I thinking here? 8-5-4. We got a lot of double black. 9-5-3. 9-4-4. 8-5-4. Tough. I think, well, this isn't really double red. I think I'm going to go 9-5-3. Oh, yeah, I definitely want to go 9 with that. Maybe 10-4-3? Well, I think 9-5-3 is the call. Let's see what they suggest. No. And if our mana proves to be a bit of a hindrance, we'll change it up. If I want to be able to hit our stuff. Well, maybe we do go 8-4. We want to cast the Priest early. Darkness is good at any point. Yeah, let's try 8-4. Oh, oops. I'd rather get all our colors. You know, we've got a mirror and a wellspring to smooth things out. So, done. All right, that's our deck. See you in round 1.